Hello from North Carolina, everybody. So this is my part of the project. And as already discussed in class, our topic is utopias and dystopias. And also, if you guys haven't went over the definition in class, just to reiterate then, the definition of a utopia is a perfect society. And when we talk about perfect, we usually mean in terms of society, socially, politically, and just with no human suffering. The opposite of that, which is also part of our topic, is dystopias. And when we talk about dystopias, we mean perfectly imperfect societies. And as we've seen in many of the books and movies that we've had to watch in class or read, it usually pertains around about human misery, oppression, disease, overcrowding, just some place you would not want to live. So for my part of the project, I want to talk about real life examples and some inventors that we also refer to as futurists that have been building technology to help realize humanity's dream of creating a perfect utopian society. As well as I'm going to talk about some of these ideas and dreams that have started out as, wanting to be a utopia, but ending up as a dystopia. So with that said, let's start with one of the first guys I want to talk about, Buckminster Fuller. And here's a picture of Buckminster Fuller. So even if you haven't heard of Buckminster Fuller, you probably have seen the invention in the background there. And that's the ball that is commonly known and associated with Disney World. And what that ball is actually is it's a geodesic dome, and that was Fuller's idea of what a human would live in. It's a perfect living structure for what he thought what humans would live in the future. Another guy, an inventor I want to talk about is Jacques Fresco. Now, Jacques Fresco is someone that I've been impressed with because some of his ideas have really pushed towards a utopian society, but haven't really been instituted yet. So imagine a world to illustrate where cars couldn't get in accidents. And here's a picture of what Jacques Fresco's cars would look like. And so attached with these cars would be magnets. And if you ever played with magnets and try to touch two magnets to each other, you know that whenever you bring one magnet to another magnet, it starts to push away the other one. And so imagine that if cars were equipped with that, and so conceivably cars could not get into accidents with another car anymore because they would be magnetized and be pushing away from each other. So I thought that was an interesting idea. Another idea that Jacques Fresco has talked about was moving, exporting, and importing with ships underwater. And as we've seen in our lifetime with bad weather, conceivably that if you were shipping underwater, you wouldn't have to deal with the weather, as well as it'd be more energy efficient because you wouldn't be battling the inertia of waves and some of the difficulties of shipping over tough seas. So I thought that was another interesting idea. Jacques Fresco has also talked about some roofing and housings and how you can make housing structurally more stable to withstand natural disaster. And so, along with not losing ships, shipping more conveniently, having cars not being able to wreck, imagine a world where you had both that, but also where housings and tornadoes and hurricanes didn't affect and displace as many people. To illustrate, here's a picture of what Jacques Fresco pictured housing being like in certain places like Tornado Alley or imagine New Orleans. And here's the picture. So as you notice, it was a cone. So in some of Jacques Fresco's documentaries, he tests these theories that like tornadoes could not pick up a cone because of the way it's structured, and some of the things that hurricanes due to house damage could not be done to this structure. So I'd encourage you guys to delve deeper if you're interested in this, and to watch some of those documentaries and see some of his theories in action. But I thought that was another interesting idea to help society. Last thing I want to finish with is that Jacques Fresco has actually put a lot of his ideas into action, and he's created something called the Venus Project, which is a plantation down in Florida where you can donate, you can pay to visit, and a lot of his inventions and ideas that he has thought of, he has tried to put into action. And he's built actually on this reservation. Um, so the big knock about this is that people that donate or pay to take a tour, which it's promised that the money will go to building the inventions and testing his theories. A lot of people say that the money actually does not get to make it to the inventions, and that it's used to support his lifestyle. But with that said, I still think that some of his ideas are pretty neat, and he's actually trying to build some of these things so that we have a perfect society in the future. Will any of them be implemented? We'll see in the future. Another one of the things I want to talk about is dystopias, and if y'all heard the term "don't drink the Kool-Aid," and that actually comes from Jim Jones, who led a cult which was supposed to be a utopia, but as time went by, his paranoia grew, his some of the stuff that he would do within his society as the leader was just starting to get more and more bizarre as it went on, and they eventually moved the whole society down to South America, where they could be away from some of the laws and restrictions of everything. And that's when what seemed to be a perfect society turned into a dystopia, and people were held at gunpoint, could not leave, they could not make choices for their own, they had to work hours and hours a day in a field at gunpoint. And so it's a really good example of how certain things can turn into dystopias. And at the end, of course, he made everybody commit mass suicide by drinking Kool-Aid that was laced with rat poisoning too. And here's some pictures of Jim Jones as well, of the people that had to drink the Kool-Aid that were in his society. So. With that said, I hope that some of this has opened your eyes to some of the futurists that are building pretty interesting technology. Again, I would encourage you to watch one of Jacques Fresco's documentaries, because not far beyond the three ideas that I've presented today, he has a lot more ideas. So it's pretty interesting stuff. With that said, I hope you guys are all having a great time in Bethlehem, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great day.